We often perceive the world to the rhythm of our waking hours, measuring progress by tasks completed, goals achieved, and the tangible results of our effort. Yet, beneath this familiar surface, a more profound and persistent current flows, an underlying pulse that rarely pauses, even when our own consciousness drifts into the realm of dreams. It's a subtle hum, a silent turning of gears, an almost imperceptible tide that continually gathers and reshapes what we understand as value, as wealth, as the very fabric of our interconnected existence. Consider for a moment the quiet moments, the hours you spend in repose, lost in sleep's embrace. Does the world truly stop? Or does an invisible engine, a profound mechanism, continue its patient work, accumulating, transforming, building upon itself with unwavering, almost ancient certainty? This isn't about the frantic pace of the stock market or the immediate gratification of a transaction. It's about something far older, far deeper, a fundamental principle woven into the very tapestry of time itself. For millennia, humanity has been subtly interacting with this invisible force, often without fully recognizing its omnipresence. From the earliest whispers of credit exchange across bustling ancient marketplaces, to the winding, arduous paths of Silk Road caravans, laden with goods and trust, to the intricate ledgers of medieval merchants meticulously tracking their slow, steady growth, the seeds of accumulation were sown and nurtured. These were not always grand, dramatic events, but often quiet understandings, promises held, and the patient expectation that a small investment of time, trust, or resource would, with the inevitable turn of the world, yield something more. We are about to embark on a journey, not through bustling cities or grand battlefields, but into quieter, more enduring landscapes where value truly takes root and blossoms. We'll trace the subtle echoes of ancient financial wisdom, not as dry economic theory, but as compelling narratives, as stories whisper across generations, demonstrating how the seemingly small, when given time and a gentle nudge, can swell into something monumental. It's a journey into mechanics of persistent growth, from the simple concept of a borrowed seed returning a harvest, to the sophisticated, almost ethereal algorithms that now orchestrate vast movement of capital, unseen and unheard by most, yet undeniably shaping our modern world. This is an invitation to lean back, to let your mind gently wander, and consider a different perspective on the tireless processes that govern our material reality. It's an opportunity to discover that the most powerful engines often operate with an almost imperceptible hum. Their revolutions too slow for the hurried eye, but their impact profound and inescapable. We'll explore how trust, time, and the patient accumulation of incremental advantages have always been the true bedrock of lasting prosperity, echoing across eras from the dawn of civilization to the digital frontiers of today. As you settle in, preparing to listen, recognize that this isn't just a collection of historical anecdotes or abstract financial principles. This is an invitation to peer into the heart of persistent mystery, how value compounds, how trust builds, and how, even in moments of stillness and rest, a powerful, quiet momentum continues its work. It's about understanding that the very act of pausing, of stepping back, can be an integral part of this grand, continuous cycle. Prepare for a story that seeks to unravel the deep, almost poetic connection between patience, time, and the astonishing power of what grows when you aren't actively watching, allow you to reflect on the unseen forces that sculpt our world, and perhaps your own, beyond the rudimentary exchange of goods and the intricate webs of ancient trade. A more sophisticated, almost alchemical force began to shape the silent accretion of value. This was a profound realization that a gain, once secured, could itself become a seed, capable of generating further gains. Consider the delicate mechanism of compound growth, a concept that fundamentally transformed our understanding of patient accumulation. It operates not merely by adding one unit to another, but by taking some of the original and its earned increment, then allowing the amplified total to produce its own increment, creating an ever-expanding spiral. Historically, this principle manifested in remarkably subtle ways long before the advent of modern financial institutions. Imagine the early monastic orders, meticulously cultivating lands and managing resources. Any surplus generated from their labor or charitable contributions wasn't simply consumed. It was often reinvested, perhaps in expanding their vineyards, improving agricultural tools, or acquiring more livestock. Each season's greater yield, born from past surpluses, then contributed to an even larger base the following year, illustrating a spiritual commitment to stewardship that mirrored the economic power of compounding. The quiet, consistent effort, amplified over decades, transformed humble beginnings into self-sustaining, flourishing communities, providing stability and support for generations. A deeper examination reveals how this slow-burning power requires a particular human discipline, the conscious deferral of immediate gratification. In an era where survival often hinged on the immediate harvest or the next successful hunt, the decision to set aside a portion, not just for future need, but for future growth, marked a significant cognitive leap. This choice to plant more than one eats, to lend a seed with the expectation of a slightly larger return, underpins the entire edifice of persistent accumulation. It's an act of faith in the future, a willingness to wait, allowing the invisible engine to perform its tireless work in the background. Furthermore, the integrity of this compounding mechanism relies heavily on established frameworks of trust and accountability. As societies grew more complex, informal agreements evolved into codified contracts and detailed record-keeping. Think of the meticulous ledgers kept by early European bankers, painstakingly tracking loans, and the interest accruing not just on the principal, but on the interest itself. These written records provided the necessary certainty, ensuring that the slow, steady process of accumulation was respected and enforceable, even across long durations and changing circumstances. It was a promise, etched in ink and safeguarded by law, that allowed wealth to build upon itself with predictable reliability. Consequently, this silent engine doesn't just operate on tangible assets. It thrives on well-managed agreements. When you contemplate the long-term impact of seemingly minor, consistent contributions, whether they be to a savings account or a retirement fund, you are engaging with the same ancient principle. Each small addition, each earned return, re-enters a cycle, becoming a new principle to generate further growth. It's a powerful testament to the idea that time itself can be leveraged, transforming modest beginnings into substantial outcomes, all through the elegant, understated force of continually building upon what has already been established. This patient unfolding truly underscores how the greatest structures are often erected not with sudden, dramatic gestures, but with an unwavering series of small, amplified increments. The quiet hum of this unseen engine extends far beyond mere financial instruments, permeating the very structure of how human societies generate enduring value. It operates powerfully, for instance, through the slow, almost imperceptible accumulation of what we might call social capital, the intricate web of trust, relationships, and shared understanding that binds communities and facilitates countless interactions. Imagine the artisan in a medieval town, renowned not just for their craft, but for their unwavering integrity. Each promise kept, each favor returned, each piece of honest advice given, acted as a tiny cog in their evolving reputation. Over years, this diligent cultivation of goodwill didn't just earn them repeat business. It unlocked opportunities, such as access to better materials, introductions to influential patrons, or even informal credit during lean times, none of which were explicitly financial transactions, but represented immense, accumulated value. This is wealth that cannot be stored in a vault, but resides in the collective memory and esteem of a network. Building on this, however, we can observe a parallel process in the development of enabling infrastructure. Consider the ancient Roman roads, colossal undertakings certainly, but once constructed, they became silent conduits of prosperity. They didn't directly produce wealth in the way a farm did, yet they dramatically reduced travel times, lowered transportation costs, and allowed goods, ideas, and people to flow with unprecedented efficiency across vast territories. The value wasn't in the initial paving stones, but in the ceaseless, amplified economic activity they fostered for centuries after their initial creation. Each cartload moved more swiftly, each merchant arriving sooner, each legionnaire dispatched effectively, represented a dividend paid silently, continuously, by that enduring network. It's an investment that returns exponentially, not through direct compounding of capital, but through the amplification of every subsequent interaction it supports. Moving to more contemporary landscapes, observe how this principle manifests in the digital realm. Think of a foundational communication protocol, like the very internet itself. Its initial development was a complex, collaborative effort driven more by academic curiosity and military strategy than immediate profit. Yet, once established, it became the invisible bedrock upon which countless enterprises now flourish. Every new application, every burgeoning online marketplace, every global connection forged leverages this underlying infrastructure without having to rebuild it. The network effect here is profound. As more users join and more applications are built, the utility and therefore the latent value of the entire system grow exponentially. This isn't just about financial capital. It's about the accumulated value of connectivity and accessibility, generating opportunities for innovation and wealth creation far beyond its initial design. Consequently, this silent engine also drives the growth of intellectual capital. A scientific discovery, once published, doesn't merely exist as isolated knowledge. It becomes a building block, a new foundation upon which further research, new technologies, and entirely new industries can be erected. Consider the discovery of penicillin. Its initial value was immeasurable in saving lives, but its compounding effect extended to inspiring decades of pharmaceutical research, creating entire drug development paradigms, and fundamentally reshaping global health economics. The intellectual investment made by Fleming and subsequent researchers continued to pay dividends, not just in medical advancements, but in the creation of vast economic ecosystems centered around biotechnology and medicine. This form of capital, once freely shared or strategically patented, silently fuels future innovation, multiplying its initial impact over generations. What this suggests is a deep, underlying current of preparedness and systemic enablement. The true artistry of harnessing this invisible engine lies in constructing environments, fostering relationships, and cultivating knowledge bases that allow for organic, self-reinforcing growth. It's about planting the seeds not just a direct financial return, but a fertile ground where countless future returns can germinate. Therefore, as you navigate your own journey, reflect on the silent investments you make, not only in savings, but in cultivating your relationships, honing your skills, and contributing to the communal infrastructure of knowledge and trust. These seemingly minor efforts, allowed to quietly accumulate, often become the most potent drivers of sustained prosperity, offering an enduring legacy that far transcends transient gains. Beyond these structured frameworks of capital and infrastructure, an equally potent yet often overlooked force of silent accumulation resides within the very act of learning from entropy. Imagine a mature forest, not merely as a collection of individual trees, but as an intricately interconnected ecosystem that has endured countless storms, droughts, and fires. Each environmental challenge, rather than purely destructive, serves as a harsh but effective teacher. The species that survive pass on traits of resilience. The soil, enriched by decaying matter, becomes more fertile. The remaining trees develop deeper root systems or thicker bark. This iterative process of stress, adaptation, and subsequent hardening is a form of value accretion that defies easy quantification. It's the deep, systemic robustness built into a system that has repeatedly faced adversity and emerged stronger, possessing an inherent, accrued capacity to withstand future shocks that a pristine, untested environment simply lacks. Moreover, this silent engine also finds profound expression through the deliberate, painstaking evolution of craft and skill over generations. Consider a family of master watchmakers whose knowledge isn't simply passed down as a manual, but as an almost intuitive understanding of materials, tolerances, and the subtle interplay of gears. Each generation builds upon the empirical wisdom, the small innovations, and the accumulated feel perfected by their predecessors. This isn't just about individual mastery. It's about the compounding of collective skill, the refinement of techniques, and the slow, almost molecular accumulation of excellence that allows for the creation of objects of unparalleled precision and beauty. The true value lies not in any single invention, but in sustained, incremental refinement that transcends individual lifetimes, generating an enduring legacy of unparalleled craftsmanship. Conversely, consider the quiet power inherent in what might initially appear as neglect or obsolescence. Think of historical buildings, once grand and bustling, then falling into disrepair, only to be rediscovered and revalued centuries later. Their intrinsic worth isn't always immediately apparent in a fast-paced, modern world. Yet, the very passage of time, coupled with period of benign neglect, can allow these structures to accrue a unique patina a historical depth, and an undeniable authenticity that simply cannot be manufactured. The silent process of weathering, of stories whispered through forgotten corridors, imbues them with a cultural capital that appreciates precisely because it has survived, untouched by contemporary trends, ready to be appreciated anew. This isn't a direct financial compound, but a slow cultural appreciation, creating a kind of heritage equity. Indeed, this phenomenon also applies to the subtle, almost subconscious adoption of shared social conventions that streamline human interaction. Beyond formal laws, think of the unspoken rules of etiquette, the rhythms of polite conversation, or the collective understanding of fair play within a community. These norms aren't legislated. They accumulate over decades, even centuries, through repeated social exchange and the subtle reinforcement of acceptable behavior. Each instance of respectful interaction, each gentle correction, contributes to a robust, invisible framework that reduces friction, fosters cooperation, and enables complex social systems to operate with remarkable efficiency. The value here is in the quiet absence of conflict, the unspoken trust that allows millions of daily interactions to occur seamlessly, a massive societal dividend built on countless small acts of adherence to shared, often unwritten, agreements. Ultimately, what these diverse manifestations reveal is a deeper truth. That value often accrues not through direct intervention or constant monitoring, but through the patient allowance of natural processes, the sustained dedication to iterative improvement, and the cultivation of environments that foster enduring resilience. It's about recognizing the dark matter of our economy and society, the unseen forces and unquantified assets that silently, persistently contribute to the richness and robustness of our world. As you reflect on your own pursuits, consider where these quiet forms of accumulation might be at work, even when your direct attention is elsewhere, building an underlying strength that will support future endeavors. Now, let us delve into a different, equally profound dimension where this invisible engine performs its tireless work, within the very core of individual consciousness. Consider the subtle, almost imperceptible accretion of personal intuition and tacit knowledge. This isn't a formalized wisdom gleaned from books or classrooms. Rather, it is a quiet synthesis of countless lived experiences, nuanced observations, and the internal processing of both success and setback. Over years, perhaps even decades, a skilled artisan develops an uncanny feel for their material, knowing instinctively how a piece will respond to a chisel or a loom. A seasoned leader learns to read the unspoken dynamics of a room, sensing underlying tensions or emerging opportunities without a single word being uttered. This valuable insight accrues not through active study, but through the persistent, often subconscious, pattern recognition that the mind forms during every interaction. It's a form of internal capital, slowly, patiently accumulating within you, building an invaluable internal compass that guides decisions and actions with an almost prescient accuracy, growing richer with every passing moment of engagement with the world. Furthermore, another potent yet often understated force of this silent growth mechanism lies in the unwavering consistency of small, deliberate habits. We are frequently drawn to dramatic breakthroughs and sudden leaps forward, yet enduring mastery and significant achievement more often germinate from the relentless rhythm of seemingly minor daily commitments. Picture the musician who practices a single scale for just 10 minutes each day, or the language learner who reviews a handful of new vocabulary words every evening. In isolation, these efforts appear trivial, almost insignificant. However, when viewed through a profound lens of sustained time, their cumulative impact is truly transformative. Those 10 minutes mature into hours, then days, then weeks of focused repetition, slowly refining muscle memory, deepening understanding, and polishing skill to an extraordinary degree. This isn't merely about incremental progress. It's about the compounding of dedicated effort, where each gentle push forward lays the groundwork for the next, silently building an edifice of profound ability from the most modest of beginnings. Conversely, consider the fascinating way value accrues within complex, interconnected natural ecosystems, moving beyond singular entities to encompass the entire web of life. Here, the invisible engine isn't driven by individual accumulation, but by the profound synergy that emerges from mutual interdependence. Imagine a thriving wetland. The diverse plant life filters pollutants. The microorganisms break down organic matter, Insects provide food for birds, and the birds, in turn, spread seeds, fostering new growth. No single component profits in a conventional sense. Instead, each element contributes to the collective health, resilience, and overall productivity of the entire system. The immense value generated, be it clean water, abundant biodiversity, or protection against natural disasters, is an emergent property of these countless, often unseen, symbiotic interactions. It's a testament to how the act of contributing to a greater whole, allowing for dynamic interplay, cultivate a silent, ever-growing wealth that benefits all participants, appreciating not through transaction, but through the very act of shared existence and ongoing balance. Lastly, ponder the unique way value silently appreciates through the sheer rarity and undisturbed presence of certain natural landscapes. In a world characterized by incessant development and rapid transformation, the worth of pristine wilderness areas, ancient forests, or untouched ocean depths escalates not due to human intervention, but precisely because of its absence. These spaces, often overlooked in the hurried pursuit of immediate gains, quietly accumulate immense ecological and spiritual capital. They serve as vital reservoirs of genetic diversity, crucial carbon sinks, and places of profound solace and scientific wonder. Their value compounds over time, not through active management, but through the inexorable march of progress elsewhere, which renders these untouched sanctuaries increasingly unique and irreplaceable. The passage of millennia, coupled with minimal human disturbance, bestows upon them an intrinsic preciousness, demonstrating a powerful form of appreciation where non-intervention is the truest act of stewardship, allowing nature's own silent engine to create an enduring, invaluable legacy. This quiet accumulation of value, this subtle turning of the invisible engine, manifests in countless forms, some profoundly intangible. Consider, for instance, the enduring power that compounds within cultural narratives and shared mythologies. A story, perhaps a foundational epic or a humble folk tale, might begin as a simple recounting of events. Yet, as it is retold across generations, reinterpreted through diverse lenses, and woven into the very fabric of a community's identity, its resonance deepens exponentially. Each retelling layers additional meaning. Each symbolic element gathers greater weight, transforming what was once a mere tale into a potent repository of collective wisdom, values, and shared heritage. This growing cultural capital, far from being static, actively shapes perception, influences behavior, and reinforces societal bonds, becoming an invaluable, albeit unquantifiable, asset that strengthens with every passing year and every new interpretation. It's like the slow geological layering of Earth, where each epoch adds depth and complexity, creating a rich, fertile ground for future understanding. Furthermore, a distinct but equally powerful engine of silent appreciation operates through collaborative evolution of shared intellectual property, particularly in realms like open-source development. Unlike proprietary innovations, where value is often concentrated and controlled, certain groundbreaking projects thrive on decentralized contribution. Imagine the vast ecosystems built around open-source software platforms. Countless developers, scattered across the globe, each contributing a small piece of code, identifying and resolving bugs, or suggesting enhancements. No single entity owns the entire creation. Instead, the collective effort consistently refines and expands its utility. The initial framework, a mere blueprint, quietly gains immense functional and economic value as thousands of minds collaboratively test, adapt, and build upon it, creating a robust, resilient, and ever-improving tool that serves millions without direct transactional cost. This represents a profound compounding of human ingenuity, where the whole becomes vastly greater than the sum of its individual parts, accumulating usefulness through relentless communal iteration. Now, consider a different dimension of this silent growth, the slow but undeniable appreciation of historical data and preserved archives. What might initially appear as dusty ledgers, forgotten photographs, or obsolete maps often accrues immense worth over time, not through active modification, but through its sheer survival and the developing context around it. A century-old census record, once a simple administrative tool, transforms into an invaluable resource for genealogists, demographers, and social historians, offering unparalleled insights into population shifts, economic trends, and cultural evolutions. Similarly, decades of meteorological readings, once recorded for daily weather forecasting, become critical components for climate modeling and understanding long-term environmental patterns. The value here isn't manufactured. It emerges from the passage of time itself, which bestows clarity, perspective, and an irreplaceable window into the past, allowing us to better navigate the present and anticipate the future. This form of capital is like a rare vintage, its significance deepening and its insights maturing with every passing year it remains undisturbed. Yet another vital, though often unseen, mechanism involves a systemic investment in robust legal frameworks and a consistent application of the rule of law beyond individual contracts, which we previously explored. It is the underlying bedrock of predictable justice and secure property rights that enables all other forms of wealth, tangible or intangible, to truly flourish and accumulate. When you reside in a society where agreements are generally honored, where disputes are resolved impartially, and where individual rights are respected, a profound sense of security takes root. This stability reduces risk, encourages long-term planning, and fosters an environment where innovation, investment, and collaborative ventures can proceed without the constant threat of arbitrary seizure or chaotic collapse. The dividends of such a system are not direct financial payouts, but an enduring national resilience and a continuous flow of opportunities, built upon the confidence that the invisible rules governing fair play will be upheld. This fundamental societal infrastructure, often taken for granted, is perhaps the most crucial engine of all, silently supporting and compounding every other form of value we create. These diverse facets of silent accumulation underscore a profound truth. Much of the lasting value in our world is not forged in immediate high-impact events, but rather accrues through patient endurance, collaborative stewardship, and the simple passage of time. They remind us that the most significant returns often stem from forces that operate quietly, persistently, and often beyond the immediate gaze of our waking consciousness. This quiet accumulation of value, this subtle turning of the invisible engine, manifests in countless forms, some profoundly intangible. Consider, for instance, the enduring power that compounds within institutional credibility and public trust. A governing body, a judicial system, or a public health organization doesn't simply exist. Its efficacy and societal influence are deeply tied to the reservoir of faith it has built over time. Each decision rendered impartially, each policy implemented transparently, each commitment honored, contributes a tiny, invisible increment to this crucial fund of trust. Over generations, this consistent demonstration of integrity fosters a collective sense of reliability and predictability, reducing friction in civic life and enhancing the populace's willingness to engage and cooperate. This isn't merely the rule of law as a static concept, but the active, continuous process of demonstrating adherence to it, allowing society to accumulate a profound civic stability that empowers it to navigate challenges with greater cohesion and confidence. Furthermore, a distinct but equally powerful engine of silent appreciation operates through the diligent, unglamorous work of systemic maintenance. Beyond the grand projects of initial construction, immense value silently accrues from the relentless, often invisible, upkeep of critical infrastructure. Think of the intricate networks of underground pipes supplying clean water, the sprawling electrical grids powering our homes, or the complex algorithms that quietly manage air traffic. Each routine inspection, each preventative repair, each system upgrade prevents potential catastrophes and ensures seamless functionality. The true dividend here is not an immediate monetary gain, but the consistent avoidance of catastrophic failure, the uninterrupted flow of essential services, and the unwavering confidence in the reliability of daily life. This silent stewardship, often taken for granted, builds an invaluable layer of operational resilience, compounding stability year after year through persistent, often thankless, attention to detail. Now, consider a different dimension of this silent growth, the strategic foresight embedded in long-term planning and contingency development. In contrast to immediate reactive measures, profound value quietly appreciates when organizations or even nations make decisions today that anticipate challenges decades in the future. Imagine a city investing heavily in green infrastructure, not just for current aesthetic appeal, but to mitigate future flood risks and enhance urban heat resilience. Or a corporation diversifying supply chains, accepting slightly higher costs in the present, to safeguard against geopolitical disruptions that may only materialize years down the line. The worth of such patient, forward-looking choices often remains latent, unrecognized until predicted challenges arise, at which point the foresight translates into averted losses, sustained operations, and a competitive advantage that seemingly appeared out of nowhere. This form of capital is built not on what is, but on what might be, quietly accumulating protective value against the uncertainties of tomorrow. Yet another vital, though often unseen, mechanism involves the epistemological deepening and broadening application of fundamental scientific principles. Discoveries such as the laws of thermodynamics or the structure of DNA weren't merely isolated facts. They were foundational insights that, over time, had continued to unlock entirely new fields of inquiry and countless practical innovations. The initial scientific breakthrough provides a kernel, but its true value compounds over subsequent decades as generations of researchers, engineers, and entrepreneurs collaboratively explored implications, leading to technologies from refrigeration to genetic engineering. Each novel application, each new layer of understanding, amplifies the original insight, creating an ever-expanding web of utility and knowledge that far surpasses the initial moment of discovery. This process of collective intellectual expansion demonstrates how raw understanding, patiently explored and widely disseminated, continuously generates new forms of wealth and progress, the initial investment paying dividends far beyond what its originators could have ever envisioned. A distinct yet equally vital current of the silent engine operates within the realm of moral capital and ethical leadership. Think of an institution or a nation guided by individuals who consistently prioritize integrity and transparency over immediate personal gain or fleeting popular appeal. Each decision made with unwavering principle, each instance of accountability embraced rather than deflected, acts as an invisible deposit into a collective reservoir of trust. Over decades, this consistent demonstration of moral fortitude does not merely prevent scandal. It builds an intrinsic authority, a profound legitimacy that resonates far beyond the tenure of any single leader. This deep-seated ethical foundation fosters an environment where collaboration thrives, dissent is constructive, and future generations inherit not just a functional organization, but one imbued with a powerful, enduring sense of purpose and rectitude, enabling it to weather future storms with greater internal cohesion and public confidence. Similarly, an often underestimated source of this quiet growth lies in sustained efforts towards social integration and community building. Imagine diverse groups within a society actively engaging in dialogues, creating shared spaces, and establishing reciprocal support networks. These deliberate actions, often subtle and incremental, knit together the social fabric, slowly bridging divides and fostering a pervasive sense of belonging. The accumulated value isn't a direct financial return, but profound societal resilience, a reduction in internal friction, an enhanced capacity for collective action during crises, and a richer tapestry perspective that fuels innovation and problem-solving. This patient cultivation of common ground, akin to strengthening countless micro-connections within a vast network, quietly generates an immense human dividend that appreciates exponentially over time, empowering a more harmonious and dynamic populace. Another profound, almost mystical way value quietly gathers is through the reverent preservation of unique cultural expressions and traditional knowledge systems. In an accelerating world, the deliberate act of safeguarding endangered languages, intricate artisanal crafts, or indigenous ecological practices may seem at odds with immediate economic utility. Yet, with each generation that learns and perpetuates these invaluable legacies, an irreplaceable store of human ingenuity, unique worldviews, and time-tested solutions to complex challenges is not merely maintained, but deepened. This cultural capital, unlike fungible goods, becomes more precious with its rarity and persistence, offering unique insights, fostering identity, and enriching the global tapestry of human experience in ways that are immeasurable, its true worth often understood only when faced with its potential loss. It's like tending an ancient heirloom seed bank, ensuring future generations have access to a diverse genetic heritage critical for adaptability. Further still, the invisible engine tirelessly works through foundational investments in human potential, particularly early childhood development and comprehensive public health initiatives. Consider the quiet societal returns from universal prenatal care programs, accessible early education, or widespread child nutrition efforts. The benefits are not immediate windfalls. Instead, They slowly compound over decades, manifesting as healthier, more cognitively developed individuals who require less healthcare intervention, achieve higher educational outcomes, and contribute more robustly to the economy as adults. This long-term commitment to nurturing human flourishing from its earliest stages builds an invaluable national human capital, reducing social burdens and creating a more productive, engaged, and resilient citizenry, a testament to how patient investment in human well-being yields profound, delayed, but certain dividends for an entire society. Finally, consider a counterintuitive aspect of this silent accumulation: the anti-fragility built through the diligent analysis and strategic learning from systemic failures. When a major crisis occurs, be it catastrophic infrastructure collapse, a widespread public health emergency, or a significant economic downturn, the true long-term value lies not just in recovery, but in the rigorous, often painful, process of dissecting the causes and implementing preventative measures. Each lessons learned report, each redesigned protocol, each new regulatory framework born from adversity makes the system not just resilient, but anti-fragile, stronger and more adaptive than it was before the shock. This profound form of accumulated wisdom reduces future vulnerabilities, enhances operational security, and instills a deep, quiet confidence in the capacity of institutions to evolve and protect, transforming past setbacks into an enduring legacy of enhanced safety and systemic robustness. Reflecting on the quiet journey we've undertaken, exploring the deep currents that shape our world, a profound pattern begins to emerge. It's a pattern not of sudden surges or dramatic upheavals, but of an inexorable, almost silent accumulation. We've touched upon various mechanisms, from the earliest human agreements to the most sophisticated digital orchestrations, all united by a common thread: the patient cultivation of something larger from something seemingly small. Across the diverse landscapes we've traversed, from the growth of enduring social bonds and the resilience forged through adversity, to the unseen value embedded in robust infrastructure and the slow maturation of collective wisdom, the tapestry of progress has revealed its intricate weave. What initially appears as disparate elements eventually coalesces into a singular, powerful narrative. These are not isolated instances of growth, but rather interconnected phenomena, each contributing to a broader, more resilient ecosystem of value, constantly evolving and reinforcing itself through cycles of input and iterative return. Indeed, the very essence of this persistent engine lies in its unobtrusive nature. It often operates beyond the immediate focus of our conscious attention, a testament to the power of processes that require time and continuity more than constant intervention. Like the steady, invisible work of a river carving enduring pathways through stone, or the slow, yet undeniable, expansion of forests from a single seed, the most profound transformations are frequently the result of forces that operate at a pace imperceptible to the hurried eye. They demand a certain faith in unfolding cycles, a trust in the latent potential within any system allowed to mature without undue haste. This understanding compels a reevaluation of what constitutes true strength and lasting prosperity. It invites us to look beyond immediate metrics and tangible gains, to perceive the deeper structures that bestow resilience and enduring worth, the quiet cultivation of trust, the continuous refinement of expertise, the subtle strengthening of community, and the patient nurturing of foundational systems. These are the invisible keystones upon which sustainable progress is truly built. Their aggregate effect is not merely additive. It is exponentially transformative, creating a robustness that can withstand the inevitable ebb and flow of change. Much like a well-tended garden yields harvest far beyond the initial planting, year after year, precisely because its roots run deep and its soil has been patiently enriched. As we draw closer to the culmination of our shared reflection, consider how these profound insights resonate within your own sphere of experience. The persistent hum of this invisible engine speaks to a fundamental rhythm of existence, suggesting that even in moments of perceived stillness or repose, a quiet, powerful momentum continues its essential work. It's an invitation to recognize that growth isn't always about frantic activity, but often about allowing the natural processes of accumulation and integration to run their course, trusting in the inherent generative capacity of systems when given space and time. This journey has shown us that the most significant returns often stem from forces that operate quietly, persistently, and often beyond the immediate gaze of our waking consciousness. The stage is now set for a final contemplation, one that weaves together these threads into a singular, unifying understanding of how true value blossoms, often in the most unexpected and tranquil spaces, urging us to trust in profound wisdom of time itself. The whispers of the invisible engine, which we have gently explored tonight, are not mere tales of distant commerce or forgotten ledgers. They are echoes of profound truth woven into the very fabric of existence, a ceaseless hum that underpins all growth, all resilience, and all lasting value. This isn't merely a mechanism for financial accumulation. It is a fundamental rhythm of the universe, demonstrating that the most monumental achievements often arise from the patient, often imperceptible, unfolding of smaller, consistent increments. It operates with an ancient wisdom, indifferent to our fleeting anxieties, yet profoundly responsive to conditions of trust, time, and persistent, understated effort. What we have truly unearthed is a grand tapestry of interdependencies, where the seemingly disparate threads of ancient credit, burgeoning trade routes, compounding interest, and the subtle algorithms of modern finance are intricately connected to the growth of social capital, the robustness of our infrastructure, the evolution of intellectual property, and even the innate wisdom of natural ecosystems. Each element, in its quiet turning, contributes to a larger, more intricate clockwork that, with unwavering certainty, builds and expands upon itself. This relentless yet unhurried motion teaches us that true strength is not found in explosive, sudden surges, but in the sustained, silent accretion that allows foundations to deepen, structures to solidify, and systems to mature with inherent, enduring anti-fragility. And here lies the most poignant revelation for our own lives. This powerful engine continues its work even when our own consciousness drifts into the realm of sleep. It reminds us that rest is not a cessation of progress, but an integral, often vital, component of the generative cycle. In our waking hours, we often equate value with active exertion, with the immediate gratification of tasks completed or goals forcefully attained. Yet, the deep, silent currents we've navigated suggest that some of the most profound accumulation happens in moments of stillness, when ideas are allowed to percolate, when the body restores itself, and when the subconscious mind synthesizes a day's experiences into new intuition. To truly understand this engine is to embrace the paradox that sometimes the most productive thing we can do is to simply allow, to trust the process, and to release the urgent need for constant, overt control. The true practice begins now, not with a sudden rush of activity, but with nuanced shift in perspective. It invites us to recognize the countless unseen forces that are diligently working in our favor, whether it's the slow growth of a planted seed, the gradual strengthening of a habit, or the quiet compounding of consistent effort. It encourages us to cultivate patience, to invest in the long game, and to find peace in the knowledge that some of the greatest rewards are sown in quiet moments and harvested over vast stretches of time. By understanding the deep wisdom of this invisible, tireless engine, we can learn to align ourselves with its rhythm, contributing to its momentum through thoughtful stewardship, consistent integrity, and the courage to trust in processes that extend far beyond the immediate horizon of our perception. So, as your mind prepares to surrender to the restorative embrace of sleep, carry with you this understanding. The world is not static when you close your eyes. Rather, it hums with profound, underlying activity, turning countless subtle gears, accumulating unseen value, and weaving the intricate tapestry of tomorrow. To sleep is not to stop. It is to trust in this continuous, magnificent unfolding. It is to surrender to the gentle, unceasing flow of time, knowing that even in your deepest repose, an invisible engine continues to spin, slowly, patiently, accumulating value not just for itself, but for the dawn that inevitably follows. This quiet certainty, this deep faith in the process, is perhaps the most precious gift this journey can offer. Let it settle within you, a tranquil assurance that beneath the surface of all things, growth endures, silently, powerfully, forever in motion.